Hello guys, this is Classy Zoj from the Zoj Project, and this video will be on Madlab, how to set it up, get it going, use it, all the various features of it, that kind of stuff. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, so if you go to zojhome.net or .com, you can find Madlab and its various downloads as well as the mobile versions. If you're using a smartphone, it's a lot easier to not have to deal with the files and use the mobile versions based on which language you would like to use is which one you would just load. And as you can see, it comes up in the language of choice here. So yeah, there are some options there for different languages, and for those who do not want to do any of the online versions and want to control or maintain their own version of the code, if you download the GitHub or the direct download, you'll get all of the files, including the variations of the languages, and you will have it on your hard drive or your device. This is a lot easier to manage on a PC or something with good file browsing. However, you could still do it on a smartphone. It's totally possible. Just as a general FYI, it's your choice, but I prefer personally for my use it to be on my hard drive, but behind the HTTPS of Netlify, as well as it not connecting to anything other than a Ripple validator, should be fine. And as you can see, this is the Korean one, and I can't read that very well, so I'll leave that to X-Force. At any rate, when you download these, if you do the GitHub, you'll be able to see the code if you would like to. Before you download it, you can review the code and feel more comfortable with it. It's totally up to you if you get it from this one or if you get it from the direct download link on Madlab, which is just a folder. Now this comes in a zip format, and I know it says 9.4 there, excuse me. It is 9.5. It comes in a zip format, so you have to unzip that. And if you don't unzip that, you're going to get some weird display of like no CSS and a white background and stuff like that. I kind of hope that people have basic computers knowledge to be able to do that kind of stuff. So if you don't, this isn't the right video for that. I mean, you probably need to just kind of figure some things out. But yeah, unzip it. You can use it from a flash drive, Raspberry Pi, virtual machine, and all of these other really cool places. But if you have it and you've downloaded it and all of that, then you have something similar to this, and you have some files that are like this on your hard drive, nice and unzipped, or on a USB stick, wherever you chose to put them. You can then launch with a double left click any of the language packs or variants that you want, and in this case I want the English one, so I just double click that and it launches Madlab, and it's really that straightforward. It's not super complicated, but yeah. So the first thing that you might want to do if you want to use Madlab would be to create a wallet, right? I mean, there is a button right there for creating a wallet, so that should be pretty straightforward. You are in the wallet management tab. It comes default as expanded in Madlab because that's usually where you have to work on Madlab first. To get into these other tabs, you can just expand them, but you're going to need a wallet loaded first. So we're going to create a new wallet, and now it is telling us that we should download the unencrypted one and download the encrypted one. When you download this, it should automatically put the file on your computer, and then the encrypted one will require a password. So we're going to use a 1-character super simple one just for this video. Don't normally do that. make a good password, and you can make 2 small words and they will be completely secure. So you have that figured out. You've got your 2 files. This unencrypted one should go over to a USB stick or printed and then taken off of the computer. Because this one is vulnerable, it has no encryption on it. The encrypted one is the one that you use. If you ever lose the one that you use, the encrypted one, or forget the password, you fall back to the unencrypted one or the printed version, and you can enter the family seed in the address and voila, create a new encrypted one and a new unencrypted one, right? So with all of this, you basically have the ability to restore your main use encrypted one at any time. Now, I just generated this account. This account is not activated, right? It doesn't have funds in it and none of that. But I have the information for it. I've just downloaded it. So the next step that I want to do is show the address QR code. And then I'm going to copy that clipboard. Now, if you're using Joey or Zaman, you can scan this and send it funds, and that will activate it. If you want to add it to one of those, you can show the seed QR code and scan that and add it to those wallets. But for this case, I just copied the address QR code. So with my other Madlab wallet that's currently open in another tab, and you can have as many of these tabs open as you want. You can multi-wallet, no problem with this. So this one's already all loaded up. So I'm just going to go into send a transaction XRP destination and paste that for that new address. And we're going to send it 15 XRP. We're going to click send. And then over here we should see on the right side some confirmations going through. And Madlab, was already connected on this one. But yeah, I sent to this address. This was the blob that I had sent, and this is the confirming hash linked to XRP scan, showing that it was an outcome of a success, and we've sent 15 XRP from that address to that address. So everything went expected, or as expected, so to say. Yeah, really straightforward. If I wanted to have sent an asset, I would have done it here, selected one of the other ones, and then sent that off. So now that we have this, we've sent it 15 XRP from our other wallet. It could have been a Madlab wallet. It also could have been just show address QR code, send that QR code with a scan from another wallet right into there, or from some other browser wallet or something, and just sending it to the address. But that's currently where we are. So then what I will do is click check balance. Now we notice in this top left, we suddenly have our account details. This account's now active is why. We just activated it, right? Really, really basic stuff for Ledger people. I mean, you know how this stuff works. It's just a little bit different with a new UI. But every time you load up Madlab, you will be coming into wallet management, loading your encrypted wallet file, and you will go to your wherever you put it. In this case, I put it here. So it's the encrypted wallet. I'll click load. It'll prompt me for a password, and then I will proceed from there, right? Loading in, putting in my password, wallet's fired up, it'll show my balance, that kind of stuff. So now that we're through the basics, which is really straightforward, guys, you just make an account and you fund it like any wallet. Download your credentials, back up your credentials, those things, all really, really basic stuff for you guys. So I'm not going to go over it multiple times. I'm sure you understand. So in send a transaction, you have some other options down here. Enable and disable LP. This is if you want to be able to send LPs to another account. It's just both accounts have to have the trust line enabled. And if you want to disable it, you have to completely drain that liquidity position first, but it's 0.2 XRP currently, and I think that will be changing in the future. It's going to be going down again, but trust lines add up and it matters, so you can definitely disable the LP position if you're done sending it. So we've got that figured out. You guys get it. You want to send a Laugh or Schmeckles or Reaper, any of this, you just select it first. Put in the address, put in the amount. Really basic. So I think we've covered most of it except for nuke. So we'll go into nuke. If you have dust in an asset and you can't shake the trust line, this is where you would do it. Tokens like Zoj are notorious for this, where they have large numbers, you get small dust and you can't shake it off the AMM. Well, right here, if you click that asset and you click nuke, you are going to destroy the asset in that trust line. Destroy it, not sell it. You're going to destroy it. That's why there's warnings. After you destroy it, you'll be able to remove the trust line. So that's what that does. It will clean up your account for you, one asset at a time. Okay, Amazon affiliate store. This is what pops up. This is wallet security from flash drives, micro SD cards. We've got different inscribing tools, all kinds of cool stuff. You know, these cards and these cards, they can go together. This stone book is actually really cool because it's all waterproof, tear-proof pages for writing seeds. These little normal card cases for playing cards, if you're going to go with a paper backup model, you can do lamination, you can do, you know, maybe a stone book, and you could even put it inside of something like this after you cut off a page, right? So these different options are for backing up your paper wallet, and Madlab is a paper wallet. So hardware, this is for a Ripple D build, but this is not no full history or anything. If you want to kind of do that upgrade, you're gonna have to upgrade the hard drive. But aside from that, you know, all the hardware is really good. You'd also have to add a tower, so keep that in mind. And you don't need the KVM, that's optional. That's why I put optional there. This is just so you can hook up multiple PCs to the same monitor and push these little buttons and switch from PC to PC, so that you don't have to have a whole bunch of peripherals on your desk when you multi-computer. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So this hardware is really, really nice, and a few of us in the community have built validators and nodes and whatnot off of this. So that's my recommendation for now. I'm just gonna move right along. Survival and fitness, basic EDC men's stuff for the most part. I mean, some women might get into it, but flashlights and knives and pry bars and all kinds of just general stuff. These tungsten carbide scribers, and they look like a normal pen, but the tip on that is capable of etching glass, and if you know much about that, you just etch it and you can pop it. It'll break in that line that you just cut into it. So it's actually pretty damn cool. Have something like that available. Some different workout stuff, health and fitness, that kind of stuff, and then a cool little camping burner and tanks for it. So just general stuff that guys might geek out on. The normal, and this I actually bought this. It was pretty damn cool. And I own this and this. Shut up. No, I own a fair bit inside of here because these are the kinds of normal things that I use a lot working. XRP apparel, paraphernalia, however you want to call it. Just a bunch of XRP stuff, different things. We got toys in here, and you know, different pellet guns and stuff like that, all the way up to hunting grade. These are 22 cal hunting pellets, and these are not a joke. they're actually really badass, so I'm not gonna lie, that's why I put them in here. So you got these series hunting ones, and then you got the Gamo Swarm Maxim right here. and this is incredibly powerful. You know, 1,300 feet per second with some kind of ammunition like this, and you can take out small game on the low sound side. So really, really, like if you have firearms like me, you can't just practice anywhere, and there's noise ordinances and all of that. So you can get something smaller, step down just a plinker to mess around with. But the toys section's full of guy stuff and sometimes girl stuff. These bug assaults are actually really rad, and they do work. They absolutely work. So they're pretty cool. They just explode insects because they shoot salt. You just load the top with salt and boom. Okay, Zoj stuff. It's all Red Panda stuff. Just kind of fun things to throw around your desk or along those lines. Sigma hasn't gotten me really much, so I found this on there. I don't know if anyone's interested, but Xmojis has a Amazon book, so put that into there, and if other projects have some more, I'll get that into Madlab. Swap, this is where we start actually learning again. So we are looking at the Zoj asset, and the chart for Zoj automatically pulled up, and we can then click some various things on this, and I think, no, we don't want that. If you click this little blue one, you can pull out all the TA stuff that people like Bunny would use, right? So right there, and start doing all your Fibonacci sequences and wave counts and all that stuff. I don't do that. I don't know how to do that. But what I do know how to do is look at chart and go, I think I might want to buy some of that. And now also this is on deck screener. So you can chart plus transactions, or just chart, or just transactions. And then if you want a full screen view, you just click the deck screener and we'll come over and it'll pull it up right there in deck screener directly, right? So super straightforward, and of course Zoj is doing all the cool things that Zoj does. You don't know, I mean, it's up, it's down, it's wild. So that's beautiful because it's opportunity. I like that, and you know, that's what you want in a meme coin, is some action, and you definitely want velocity, and of course you need liquidity. So overall, we're doing pretty good in the Zoj, and happy about that. But on this note, if I want to trade, I'm looking at asset 1 being what I want to give for asset number 2. That's already set up for me currently, so I'm going to check my balance. That's just going to do a simple account refresh, which is fine. Now I've checked the pool price. Now I know how much Zoj cost in XRP, and it has told me here. It has also told me here what those things are, what the pool fee is, and all that stuff, right? So I can slide the slider, and you can see simulation swap is telling us how much we will get for our 3 XRPs. Right, so what I'm going to do is say I like that and hit execute swap. And now we know that there's tricky stuff already happening because I didn't even have a trust line for Zoj. So now Madlab has went and built a trust line for Zoj, and now it is making the purchase for Zoj. It's purchased the Zoj, and now we can see the Zoj inside of the account tab on the left side here. That's really, like, that's what you got to do. It's that easy and straightforward. I know people are having trouble kind of figuring it out, but I think they're more just intimidated by the fact that it exists. I'm not sure, but this is actually really, really simple stuff. So now you'll notice that with an asset, unlike XRP, we have buy and sell buttons. If I click sell here, it's going to reverse populate. Remember I told you input asset is what we're selling, and this is what we're buying, right? So we're selling Zoj, we're buying XRP, we're going to check that pool price, and then we're going to sell half of our bag. our whole 3 XRP bag in Zoj, right? So we're doing that. It looks like that transaction is now completed, and at any time these hashes, so we've got the blobs, this is what's sent, and even if somebody were to break into that, it doesn't contain any data that's helpful to anybody. It's useless, and that's what we send to the WSS Ripple D server. And then you can click this hash and we go right into the ledger and we can see everything was exactly as we expected it to be. Straightforward as can be, easy peasy. And then in version 9 plus, we see that Madlab will calculate how much it's saved you on slippage and how much it's saved you on trading fees. And as you're using it, each session it'll refresh, because Madlab doesn't save any data about you, about your activities, nothing. Only while it's open this time. Once I reload it, this will reset, but that doesn't mean that I didn't save that money. I still saved that money for sure. It's just Madlab doesn't know about it because it doesn't stalk you. And I think that's probably the best option for a wallet, but you know, to each their own. Some people prefer the wallets tracking their IPs and doing all this weird stuff in the background that you never asked them to, but you won't find that in Madlab. So that's pretty much it, guys. The AMM, the input asset, is the one that you're selling. The output asset is the one that you're buying. And we have well over 300 assets in Madlab that people could go find and buy. And yeah, like Unite and Trump and Pigeon, all of these, and it really is that simple. Like, this is not anything difficult. So let's move on to liquidity pool management. We have a little bit of Zoj, we have a little bit of XRP, so we will select XRP as the primary asset, which is what we always want to do, unless we're trying to pair it to another token, but we're just doing the basics right here. So we've got XRP there, and boom, we've got Zoj. Also, these drop downs are alphabetical, and as soon as you figure out where everything is, it becomes really quick. You can see that I know right where Zoj is, and it's not hard to deal with. Remember, track it down the first time, and after that you're always going to know, right? So I put in XRP, I put in Zoj, I put check pool. Now I know about the liquidity pool and all that stuff. I've also loaded the information required to operate this other area. So deposit into pool is how you put asset into liquidity pool. These sliders will match the assets properly to make a good deposit for you. And as you can see, it's loaded up amount 1 and amount 2, and I just click deposit. Now that's going to send that blob. It's going to deposit right into the liquidity pool for Zoj and XRP. And if I check the hash on that, AMM deposit. Madlab didn't take your money. It's okay. It's in the ledger. I put in XRP. I put in Zoj. And that's what it come out to. And then you can always click the raw JSON and look through all of this data if you would like. Those are available to you as well through XRP scan. Alright, so looking back at Madlab, we'll also notice that inside of our wallet we now see our Zoj XRP LP. So we have that position. So let's say that we no longer want to be in the Zoj LP. We can click withdraw all, and now it is sending a ledger transaction to get out of that dirty Zoji pool. And we've done it. That's it. You'll notice up in the top left we don't see Zoj XRP LP anymore. We're out of that position completely. We got our XRP back, we got our Zoj back, and we can go check on the hash AMM withdraw. Success. Done. We are out of that dirty Zoj pool that needs to be cleaned. I don't know. But yeah, it's that simple, guys. you were in a liquidity pool, then you were out of it, right? So I'm just going to check the pool again, make sure I got up-to-date informations, and then I am going to deposit back into the pool so that I can show you the next thing, which would be vote. Voting is what determines how much of a percentage fee is on that liquidity pool. So we will look. Oh, here's another thing showing you your fees, and I believe that that'll just be updating too. LP tokens, that's for withdrawal. We're not going to do that, but we are going to vote, and we're going to crank this baby up with our 1XRP to say that we want a 1% fee on the pool. And I doubt we'll even be able to adjust it, is because the pool is a series of everybody voting, and this account has put next to nothing in that pool comparatively. So 786 was what it was, and it is still 786. We did not manage to adjust it. However, had we had way more liquidity, we maybe 100 times how much 100 XRP, we might have been able to move it by just a hair, right? One digit or something. Maybe the 6 to a 7. But you get the message, you get the idea. You just slide the slider to the percentage, and the percentage is 0%, which would be no AMM pool fee, no bonus, no reward to the people providing liquidity. On the other hand, 100% would be 1% of that entire trade that goes through being distributed amongst the people inside of that liquidity pool. So ultimately, you can run a pool any way that you want. 0% doesn't incentivize anything for the people's risk, providing that liquidity, but 1% can actually be pretty expensive, because if people are trading at a 5% gain or loss, 1% is 20% of that, right? So you're only working with a 5% on the win or whatever, then 1% of it is 20% of the total. It really does affect a lot of money. So your vote matters, and it's not like government where they say your vote matters, but it actually doesn't. This is actually a vote that matters, especially if you have a lot of liquidity locked up in an asset. So that's it, guys. I mean, it is really that straightforward and simple to do. Liquidity in, liquidity out, voting for fees, buying a token, setting a trust line to it. Now, if you noticed, I just did withdraw all. The transaction went through. I'm not even in the Zoj liquidity pool anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I want to get rid of this Dirt Diggler Zoji asset because it's just not for me. I can't deal with it. So I click sell over here. It's populated Zoj to XRP. I'm just going to check the pool price, make sure that my balances are good. Apparently it lost focus right there. Okay, so we want to select Zoj out to XRP. So we will check the pool price on that. I think when I checked balance, it lost focus, so something to note. But I'm not going to be able to sell it all because it just gets mad about that kind of stuff. So I'm going to sell what I can, which is like a 99% on this slider bar, and then we're going to get rid of that. Okay, so we got barely any Zojis left. We'll check the pool, and we'll try to sell that much more just to make sure that we don't lose the 0.2 XRP, which is a tenth of the cost of a trust line, but we're just going to make sure that we drain it. Okay, so we've got barely any Zoj tokens left, and it's going to be hard to sell the rest. like I said, with, assets that are large. Some of these tokens, you'll have dust in there that you just can't get rid of. So we go back to send transaction. There's a Zoj, and then we just click nuke trust line. It is checking. It knows how much Zoj we have there, and it just cooked it right off the account, put us up to zeros here. We can see that the blobs are going through, things are being signed, and cool stuff is happening. So it just cooked off the balance and then closed that trust line. And that's it. We don't even have Zoj in the account anymore, and our escapades across all of that cost us a whopping 0.054 or something XRP. So not, because remember we started this account with 15. So we can see we have 14.9, almost everything that we had. And we did all of that liquidity pool management, all of that swapping and everything. And you won't get that anywhere else because Madlab does not have fees in it. And at this point I will tell you, you're not going to get that anywhere else. I did a lot of work to make this possible for everybody. If you read my README, you'll understand my line of thinking, my reasoning. You can click these buttons from time to time whenever you win a lot of money and don't have to pay some crazy wallet fees or swap fees or get literally destroyed by 6 to 10 or 20% slippage on some of these websites. We don't have any of that in Madlab, and we're happy about that. So you can always click one of these and it will prepare a transaction to donate. You click OK at the pop-up and it'll send off the blob and do everything else, including throw a memo saying donation to Madlab. And there's the transaction all done. I'm just going to take a quick check at the time. 32 minutes. Okay, we're mostly wrapped up with a lot of the tricky stuff, or things people consider to be tricky, but let's take a look at wallet history. The next section, I'm just going to click load my address and then fetch history, and I can see a whole bunch of different transactions, AMM deposits, and things like that. So that's literally just a wallet history. Now you can also get this at any time on your account through XRP scan if you like that better, by up in the top left clicking on your own address. Really, really simple. Bam, and we're onto the account, right? So the other cool thing is you can click copy address and hit OK, and now the address is in your clipboard. And that is pretty much wallet history. There's a legend there. This will also track your Zaman fees if you have the same wallet loaded in both. I recommend having just a Madlab wallet. If you're going to link it to a standard wallet, you could probably do Joey, but I'm not going to recommend a Zaman wallet as long as they have fees and subscriptions and that kind of stuff. Not for me, but to each their own. So wallet history done. Golem is a tricky one, and this isn't a great account for displaying just how cool Golem can be, but you basically click add account assets and start tracking, and as this runs it will build not only a price chart but a liquidity chart, and you can see them moving independently after five or so minutes, and then you can kind of get a trend. But what it is it's real-time ledger updates. So when you go to sites to get metricing, you may end up with slower metricing than what's here, because those sites take time to populate as well. So Madlab can give you information on all of your assets in one spot, as opposed to trying to have 8 different assets opened in Deck Screener, jumping back and forth and then getting post data or stale old data. Golem is going to be doing all of that. It's also going to be calculating your entire balances. by extrapolating the value of XRP to RLUSD to get true value for XRP, and then using that XRP value against your assets to figure out what they're really worth based on what its liquidity pool paired with XRP value comes out to. So you end up getting far more realistic values on your assets than you would get anywhere else. Like account value app and Zaman, I tried using that, and it's like absolutely not very good. We'll just put it that way. And I'm not trying to throw shade at whoever made that. I'm sure they tried, but this will track 10 assets and give you alerts, and you can have it running in the background, and if 1% changes, it'll start playing broken glass and letting you know. So that's Golem. Heat maps are interesting. This will be for kind of trader people like Bunny, but you can mouse in, you can zoom in on these things. There's also little buttons here for doing that. I think this will yeah, I never touched that before, but as you zoom in, it'll start naming all of these objects and showing you what the heck they are, right? So that is the crypto coins heat map. We have an ETF heat map, and you'll notice with the crypto, we don't have these header boxes. It's just all the cryptos are here. But in equities, fixed income, currency, and all of that, we can go to the fixed income and make that the larger view, and then we can zoom in on that. So we turned that really little heat map of fixed income into a full screen or full area one with its own full depth section. So now that you kind of know how these heat maps work, and you understand, you can really get into the nitty-gritty of these things. That's useful, especially if you want to see the entire financial market from crypto across traditional finances to foreign currencies via the Forex, all moving in real time. Right now you don't see this moving in real time due to the time it is, but normally during the day in the US, if you look at this, it is blipping all over the place, and it is a very busy, very active set of data, these two Forexes. Down here we have this US debt clock one, and if that's the pop-up for you, you click the close right there, and you can watch these tickers go up and down and do all of the crazy things for the United States national debt and all of that cool stuff. So that is the heat maps section. Trust line management, you don't have to do this unless you're doing something else, but you can nuke a trust line that has a zero balance in it. You can close it here. You can open one and not buy it at the same time this way, or you can just open it and buy it with the AMM swap that I had showed you previously. It's really that straightforward, so not a big deal. Domain management, this really does work. It'll add the URL prefix, so HTTPS, that kind of thing. If I click set domain, it is going to bind test Madlab to this account, which it wasn't there before, I assure you. And then if I go to XRP scan, I can see that account set flag was made for that source, and now I can see even XRP scan knows that this is test.madlab that I have just set to this account. But I don't want that, or I've changed domain. I just click remove, and it will get rid of it off of the account, and then I could change it. I could put up a different one. So completely pliable, nothing permanent there. Now if I click on the hash from the newest transaction, we see the account set. We go back to the account, and XRP scan has already removed that domain from there, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Super simple stuff. Domain management. Thor Chain swap. This gets a little bit more complex because you need Thor Wallet, and I'm going to recommend you get it. Thor Wallet will hold an entire array of other assets and give you addresses for them. So I just click load my address. I would put in my whatever address for the swap. So if I want to do Thor, it would be my Thor address. And like I said, if you have the Thor wallet, you'll have an address for all of these. And that's a wallet app. So the Thor Chain people have been super cool with us, integrating with XRPL, and Madlab is one of the few places to get direct access into some of these other currencies straight away. You could go to USDT if you want from your XRP through this. You don't have to go to Thor. You can go directly to Avalanche if you want, or Avalanche USDC even. It's incredibly powerful, and millions of dollars are currently going over these rails. So if I were to load my address, then I select Thor, then I would put in my Thor address. I don't know that right now. I pull up my wallet, so I'm not going to do it this way. We're going to use that prefetch one. That's Bitcoin. So I'm going to put in Bitcoin. I'm going to fetch that random person I sent Bitcoin to while testing this, and we're going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 12,345 XRP. I'm just going to fetch a quote. Now that I have quotes, I can see that I would get 0.277 Bitcoin for 12,000 XRP. I know we wouldn't do this, but this is just an example, so don't panic. This is not a thing that we do from XRP to BTC. But you might go to Thor, or you might go to one of these other stable coins. And one use case for this is if XRP is going down and you want to exit over to Thor or Bitcoin or something to come back after price has stabilized, so you protect your asset, right? You can go into RLUSD, or you can go across to another chain. If you go to RLUSD, you're looking at stability and not moving against price go down in XRP. But if you think Thor Chain is going up right now, or Bitcoin is going up right now, and XRP is going down, now you're taking, you're not just preventing your losses, you're actually taking the offensive in another market moving up. And then when XRP is done moving down, you come back and you find you have far more XRP because you took advantage of another asset going up and XRP going down, right? So rather than taking stability and then coming back in, you could take the offensive, force multiply your position, and end up gaining more. So if I were to select this quote and execute swap, it will then execute the one that I selected and send from my account via Madlab to this Bitcoin address. And it'll be quick, it'll be done, and it will match your results here. So I only had to integrate the Madlab portion of this code. Thor Chain did the Thor Chain, DKit. These guys are the ones who have the servers running in the back end. So the only time we talk to these guys is when business is being done, and we're grateful of them for putting up and holding up and all of that infrastructure. For fees, I don't have any fees. They don't have any slippage. They have a super small fee, but like I said, super small, and for what you're getting out of it, absolutely worth it. And I didn't throw anything on my side. Same with the AMM. All these features, all this functionality is free. It's just free. So if you do decide you can donate, I appreciate that. It does help me free up my time and pay my bills and not have to get out there and work so hard, regular job stuff. So regular account key, this is so you can have another account signed for you. It's for people getting a little bit more tricky and geeky. So if you know what you're doing, that kind of stuff is for you. Network stats, you can fetch a few interesting little tidbits here and there, or you can dig into another account and try to figure out some stuff. But you can also do that with wallet history, because you don't just have to load your account. You could load someone else's wallet history and take a look at their history, but you can do the same on XRP scan. So it's not something super powerful in Madlab or special or unique to it. It's just something that's there in case it's what's most convenient at that time. Battle. So this is an interesting one. You select an opponent address, you select an area to do battle in. There will be environmental risk. There are things about that area. You can check your balance and your opponent's balance. You then select the 2 assets to battle, and you click start battle. The battle plays out. There is a winner and a loser. And in this case, the enemy army was way more powerful than this crappy account's little balance, so I got smashed. That's pretty much it. If the battles are bigger, they last more rounds, and there's a lot more detail in it. There's an entire glossary that goes over all the battlefields, the spells, the weapons, the classes, the different elements of the battle. There's a lot of data in here, and it is because making a battle simulator is actually a little bit difficult. There's about 3,000 lines of code to battle, and yeah, it just makes it so people can fight other people's wallets, and then you can prove that you beat them up by doing send to battle results. This is the minimal amount of XRP required, like to send and then do a memo, so it's really small. And then once you've done that, you can check out that hash, and it will send to your opponent your wallet battled, the address, and Madlab Battle Simulator on the map Polar Vortex Plains. They use XRP with a power of 100 versus your asset of XRP with 61,840. They killed one of your troops, you killed 10 of theirs. Victory for your forces is what this wallet was told. So, yeah, they just beat up our wallet, and then we told them about it. That is the battle simulator, guys. And that's just a little fun game on the side. Vanity wallet generator. Anything over 4 characters is super hard, but everything starts with an R. If you do case sensitive, it gets way harder as well. Basically, you put in what you want, and you do start generating, and you go to sleep if it's longer than just 2 characters. And at some point, it will stop, and that's it. You'll have your vanity. When this stops and you have your vanity, you will do it like a normal wallet creation. It's all in plain English. You download the unencrypted. You download the encrypted and put passwords. Then, now that you know that you have those 2, you activate it. It will take funds from this account and send it to that account. And then you will be able to load those files to load it into Madlab with that wallet. So this is a straight vanity generator for Madlab wallet creation, and it's fun. You can have a few other accounts, and it's all synchronous, works with Madlab, designed for Madlab to work for you and do cool things. You can just let this thing run, but I'll give you an example. If you only had something really simple, you see how quick it found that? It stopped all this nonsense, highlighted that. So you just got the winning vanity that you wanted so bad. You download, like I said, you download the unencrypted one, then you download the encrypted one, and this will require you to put in a password. So you go ahead and do that. That'll take a second to encrypt that file, and then as soon as you see that you have the encrypted file downloaded, now you can activate that account. Then you will be able to load it into Madlab just like the wallet that you're currently on. Really that simple. And what's cool about this is as soon as you guys figured out how to use it, all the documentation for your accounts and all of that is easy to store, and you don't have to write it. You can print it. You can, etch it into the plastic with those other options, or hammer it in with stencil. Yeah, it's actually really powerful stuff, and it's intuitive once you get the hang of it. Just kind of knowing what to do in there. Yeah, I'm just gonna deal with that later. So we've went through vanity. So Guardian will do stop loss and auto sell at certain percents. It's a little bit tricky because you're gonna have to calculate slippage if you're gonna do major slippage adjustment to an asset because you're selling a good amount. It might fail, but if the asset is really solvent, like RLUSD, something like that, you shouldn't have any issue being able to get things executed automatically upon an event of it went up or it went down while you were sleeping. So this is Guardian is guarding you while you're sleeping. And asset to sell, the input, asset to buy, the output. So in a hypothetical situation here, there's RLUSD. So we're going to sell XRP. We're going to go to RLUSD. If the price changes by negative, close enough, 3%, and then I'm going to sell 15 or so percent of my supply, and I don't have to worry too much about slippage, so I just have a 2% slippage. And then I would do add the rule, and then I don't have the asset, so Guardian isn't going to let me do it, but I think you kind of get the hint. This is just going to watch stuff while you're sleeping. Small airdrop tool and large airdrop tool is kind of cool because you can just use it to dig in on an asset and look at maybe some charts on it. So fetch the trust line for 589, and we just want to see, okay, it's got 5,222 trust lines, and then here is the distribution map. So total percent held by top 10 holders is 25.69%. So they're doing pretty good. This gray area would be all the other accounts. This would be all of the whales. Right? So you can get a little analytical data out of just the trust line options, but this is more for advanced users who are going to take the time to read the section, really understand what it is that they're doing, and perform an actual ledger function that's important to a lot of people. This small airdrop is simple. It uses the account that you have loaded and batches them by 100 to, handle for encrypt and decrypt, spam prevention, and then the large airdrop one, it gets a lot more technical, runs 5 accounts and then deletes them when it's done using them to get the airdrop done faster. It's a very, very complicated piece of machinery, we'll put it that way. Probably over-engineered, definitely fucking cool, but not easy to wrap your head around or use. I'm not going to get into it. Those who want to explore that will, at their risk, and it's like one of those things where these advanced programs, sometimes they're really hard to use, they're really hard to make work, and nothing is perfect. So make sure to double check things and get your downloads and your documentation and that kind of stuff on the results of the transactions. So the escrow, this is in seconds. So you can set an escrow of some XRP into the future, and then you can cancel that escrow and pull it out. And it will ask you for a sequence number, and if you have escrows out there, you'll have a sequence number for them, and then you can cancel them. And you can list them so that you can see them. So escrow is for people who I think don't trust themselves to not do something stupid. But yeah, locked up, and you can say, hey, it's escrowed, I'm so cool. Minting a new token, once again, a really advanced section that's beyond this, but Madlab's costs are not in there. Madlab doesn't have fees. That's what we have donations for. Donate if you can, but if you're broke and you're just struggling, don't worry about it. Fund it with 10 XRP. So you think minting costs 10 XRP. It doesn't. It sends it all to the new account that has to be created in the minting process. This bypasses a lot of footwork for someone trying to mint a token. Madlab will do a tremendous amount of the steps required to mint an asset, all for you, with just a couple darn entry boxes. So that XRP will go into that other account, of which you'll probably end up with like 8.8 because one XRP is used to hold the account open, 0.2 is used to trust line hold open. It will mint it, and this would be whatever account you're currently loaded on would be the issuer account with a negative balance. It will create a holding account, and that will get the balance of the asset, and you will then be a token creator. That simple. That's it, guys. That's every section. Down here's a footer and a hit counter. This is the only way that I have any metrics of people's use, is a hit counter that says this page has been loaded this many times, right? And hopefully in time we see this reach over 1 million. On this left side you have Let's Exchange and you have Simple Swap, and both of these are cross-chain to a lot of different ecosystems, but they're going to have higher fees than our Thor Chain swaps. So if the Thor Chain swaps down, you can use something like this. These do goes through centralized exchanges and sites, whereas the Thor goes through blockchain itself. A lot cheaper, a lot faster, no KYC, no bullshit, whereas this is basically plan B. If we can't get through Thor Chain, we go through something like this over here. And then guys, that's it. I mean, we have went through Madlab all the way, and hopefully that answers your questions. At any rate, Madlab can be found once again on zojhome.com and available for everybody for free. And you can set up your own WSS to connect to. You don't have to connect to Ripples. And there is a tutorial inside of the Madlab files for download to do that. It takes less than 3 minutes and probably about 5 clicks in total to go to QuickNode and set one up. Really simple tutorials in there, and then you can connect to that. My voice is going a bit. And you're good to go. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you learned anything, great. If not, sorry. You shouldn't have learned too much, because this is all really like, you see English text, you read it, send transaction. Oh, I want to send XRP. Where do I want to send it? You know what all this stuff means. So there isn't too much to be learned in here. A few quirks here and there, or new or different features people haven't seen in other wallets, but this is just blockchain, all the basics. So yep, have a wonderful day, take care of yourself. Bye guys.